Hello and welcome to Spring Command Forge Alliance. This will be an overview of the Cybran weapons, all their units. I'm going to do this one a little slightly different from the EF, maybe a little more organized. So first thing I'd like to show is the hive. This is the three different stages of the hive: Tech 1, Tech 2, Tech 3. This gives Cybran really the huge build capacity, especially later in games, instead of using engineers. So let's first look at Tech 1 Air. You actually build these units. You got the Scout, negative 40 mass, 130. You can see how quickly you can make one of those. 26 health, and just like any other Scout in the game, basically. Correct me if I'm wrong on any of these things. Interceptor, 50 mass. See 280 health, slightly less than the UEF Interceptor. I actually believe this is the weakest Interceptor in terms of health, but they're all so close, doesn't really matter. Of course, gotta set these to attack if you want to see them actually shoot. The bomber for Cybran, very nice bomber, very easy to control. Usually pays attention to what you're doing or responds very well. And 200 damage per bomb. You see 200 health, and the cost on one of those is 80. It's a little more expensive than the Interceptor, but much cheaper in terms of power, which is very significant. You also have the Jester, more expensive than the other Tech 1 units besides the transport. Most expensive in terms of mass, so 200 mass. Very big investment early on, but definitely worth it. So here we see the bomber doing its thing. A lot of potential for bombs. You can see right after the bomber drops his bomb, you can have it stop. Well, I definitely messed up the double bomb, but whatever, let that bomber die. So that's the Tech 1 Air. This is really the special unit, the light gunship that no other faction has at this stage. Tech 1 Transport, 120 mass. See the health is 500, so quite weak if you're going to put any expensive units in it. Some of the units that you can put on there are the Hunters. This is the light assault bot, 65 health, so the weakest light assault bot if you don't count the Selene, but it does quite nice damage. You can take out engineers, and you can make ghetto gunships out of them. You also got the Scout, make a couple of those. And with a ghetto gunship, look at this Jester still going at it. Might actually kill that AC. This is the weak AI. I guess I, just like with the EF, forgot to put them on fire. Well, you gotta do that for all these factories. It's rather sad. And you can see when the transports get hit, the units that they're carrying can actually die before the transport dies. So those are the Hunters, and they basically get micro just like any other light assault bot. The Scout for Cybran, special ability for this, it doesn't have a gun but it can cloak at the cost of 5 power, so this will disappear on the enemy radar. Actually, it will disappear from the visual as well unless ACU finds it, so you can put hidden radar on your enemy's territory. The other units, the Mantis, it's a 52 mass that it costs, 270 health, the weakest of all the tanks, but it's very quick, rapid fire. It's got a turret on it, But besides having a turret, it also can build. So for example, let's see, we'll take an ACU. We'll start building something. That's way too fast. Let's see, take 3 anti-air. The Manti will actually help out. So each one of these is 1/5 of an engineer. So you need quite a few of them to help, but it does help, for example, to upgrade your ACU in the middle of battle. Unfortunately, they cannot reclaim. You got the anti-air, Tech 1 anti-air. It's got the weakest health, but it does have guided missiles, so it doesn't miss. Very good against bombers. Not very good against gunships because it gets killed very quickly. And the special ability, of course, for this flak, which makes it special from all the others, is it can be made to shoot at either ground or fire, but you gotta control it. And the last Tech 1 unit, the artillery. Looks like it's shooting at something. The Medusa's got the weakest health. It does cost, you can see here, 48, so as much mass as a tank. Its special ability is that it can freeze units in place, the ones that it hits. A very low fire rate, the same as UEF. But you can see it's already missing the spot that we've given it to shoot at. Makes it the worst at taking out stationary positions, but very good at against large amounts of unit when it doesn't really have to hit a particular area. It just sort of lobs them into battle. I still have that transport somewhere. I want to send these off into battle. You can go ahead and die over there. So now moving on to Tech 2 Air. We got the Tech 2 fighter bomber. In my opinion, the best bomber. It's very good against Navy. It's much harder to dodge than any of the other bombers because it shoots at an angle. We can demonstrate it against the ACU here. Same time we can make, and you can see the health or the cost 420 mass. And in terms of anti-naval weapon, this is my favorite one. Besides torpedo bombers, actually I like it better than torpedo planes against ships that are on the surface. It also can fight against other airplanes, but it's not very good at that compared to other Tech 2 bombers. Besides the Mercy, of course, which doesn't fight other planes. We got the torpedo bomber, which is 240. So significantly cheaper in terms of mass than the Corsair. So if you need to make anti-air or anti-naval, might as well make these. But of course, Corsair gives you more versatility. There's also the gunship. You can see the cost of the gunship exactly the same as the torpedo bomber. The bomber is significantly more expensive. And we also have the transport. So this one's 300 mass cost. You can load up a lot more units. It also has an EMP weapon on it, plus anti-air. And here we see the Corsair getting hit by the transports. It's kind of getting confused here and finally gets killed. And we'll send the gunship. The Cybran gunship is very nice. The Tech 2 gunship has really nice splash damage, so very good against the large groups of units. What did I do with the transport here? Guess we'll save it for some of the tech units we can now make. Cybran Tech 2 land, whole bunch of different toys. So we get the hoplite, 200 mass, quite weak in terms of health. Perhaps the weakest Tech 2 unit in terms of health, 450. But But you can see the range on this unit is very nice. I'll send it out into battle. It's 200 mass, but there's another tank, the Rhino, a laser tank, much lower range but much more health, so nearly 1200 health, almost 3 times as much health at the exact same cost, but not the range. So just like with the EF, if you don't want to micro, make the Rhino. If you want to micro, make the hoplite. Just don't let anybody run into your hoplite. The rockets on this hoplites, they also cause splash damage, so they're good against bunched up units. We got the Wanger. This is the amphibious tank. So let's see what was the cost on that. 300, so more expensive than the Rhino. It has a very similar range, but it can also go underwater and has very weak torpedoes. I believe it has a much actually, just go check out what these things can do. The fire rate on the Wanger is better, and it has more health. So in general, it is the better unit. Of course, Tech 2 flak. Tech 2 flak for Cybran can't go on water, but very effective at what it does on land. So here you can see the Wanger. A lot more damage per shot for the Wanger. These usually get a lot more veterancy than the Rhinos, but got killed by a bunch of Seraphim tanks. And we'll put the flak there for their transports. Should be very effective at that. Of course, we also get the mobile missile launcher. This is an excellent unit. I'm actually going to give these guys a TMD just to show why it's so good. Give them a Cybran TMD. Oh, gave it to their own team. So that unit. So what's special about these, they do have the lowest health of all the mobile missile launchers, but it takes multiple shots to kill the missile. The missile itself splits into multiple missiles after it gets hit. So here we got a micro hoplite. And here you can see the ability on the Tech 2 transport. It freezes units. That unit can no longer move. Oh wow, the AI actually getting all crazy. So unfortunately we were not able. Yeah, so here we see that missile was split into 3. So it would have taken multiple shots. Actually, the TMD got hit by the missile. So that was nice. So there's also stealth, mobile stealth. Let me get another. This takes 25 power to run. The cost on one of these is 80, so quite a cheap unit. And of course, this is a suicide bot, 300 health, but does quite a bit of damage, a few thousand damage per shot. And that stealth, of course, goes well with any other combination of units. Just looking at the costs here for Tech 2 units, it's around 200. There's some of the more expensive ones are 300 mass. But the standard is 200, the flak 160, the Roach 300. Looks like the Roach is the most expensive Cybran unit. So let's see if the Roach can do something. Like take out this Tech 3 mask extractor. I'll have the stealth give it cover. Almost took that out. You can see the damage or just over 5,000 damage on that shot. Now you can see the response. The stealth gets killed. Now moving on to Tech 3. In terms of air, all of the Tech 3 airs, this spy plane is very good. Unlike other spy planes, it also has sonar on it. It's got stealth for itself. So really the best spy plane, and of course it also has Omni, but you can find a lot more with this than with others, especially underwater. Also very hard to shoot down, just like all the other spy planes. We got the ASF, looking at the spy plane, 200 mass, ASF 400 mass, quite a bit of power. Really, in terms of power, it's that's a lot, 40,000 power per plane. This Gemini, the Tech 3 superiority fighter, has the weakest health, but not by much from other factions, but it can be stealthy, so it can hide on the radar. And the way it shoots, it has dual turrets, so it's unlike others, not direct fire, but it shoots missiles at the enemy air force. The bomber costs a little over 2,000. Can also be made stealth. See, it took a little longer to build. The stealth cost on this is 60, and for the SF it's 25. These bombers have the best splash but the weakest damage of any of the Strat bombers. Of course, all the Cybran bombs have excellent splash damage. See, there was still this Tech 3 mass extractor still alive at just a little over 2,000 damage per bomb. Maybe we can test it on this ACU. And in terms of health on this thing, it's 3,700. The SF health is 2,400. So let's see, this ACU, usually 11,500, went down to 8,700. So what is that? That's about 3,000 or 2,800 per bomb. Something like that. You can do the math. So it seems about right. 2,800 plus a very nice splash. And the last Tech 3 unit is, notice there is no Tech 3 transport, unlike EEF, is the Whaler. In terms of cost, it's significantly cheaper in power than the bomber. In terms of health, it's nearly 6,000, so a lot more health. Of course, these are much more vulnerable to flak. And in terms of mass, it's 1,700. It's quite a bit of mass, and this also has jamming capability, so it makes false radar images on the radar to make it look like there are more units coming in than there really are. And this causes really good damage. So overall, an excellent gunship, and we won't let it just kill this. Yeah, we'll send him away. Tech 3 land for Cybran. We got the Loyalist, 480 mass cost. It's got two different guns, one with really high rate, one is slower. Causes quite a bit of damage. It's better than the Titan for EEF, not as good as the Harvey or the Seraphim tank, Seraphim Tech 3 tank, but it does have a special ability. It can defend against tactical missiles, and it can actually send them back. It's a very valuable tactical missile defense. Let's See if the AI can actually deal with one of those. There's of course also the brick. And of course the loyalists are also great to micro. They're pretty quick. You can move back and forth. They'll really pay attention to what you're doing. But the brick is really, besides the Percy, it's the best Tech 3 assault bot. And against the multiple units it's better than the Percy. Very high fire rate, very good in combination with some stealth. Has very nice range on it. And I can take on either the Harby or the Seraphim Tech 3 tank. So here I'll make a separate video for the rest of the Cybran military.